So I was born into that environment where I'm this biracial kid, kind of, born into this shameful, family, and then immediately adopted by a white family. My father was a Lutheran minister,
Mhm.
was adopted by him, his wife, and I have two brothers and a sister who are biological to my adoptive parents.
Mhm.
Um, and that really started my story. Uh, when I went home to that home when I was 3 months old. And at that time, they lived in a suburb of Detroit, Dearborn, Michigan.
Mhm.
And Dearborn at that time in the late 60s was considered a closed community, which meant people of color weren't welcome in the community.
Mhm.
I kind of got in on a technicality because I wasn't a family. I was only one person,
Right.
but that community did not want me there. The church didn't want me as part of the church, and Dearborn, the community, didn't want me there. So much so that when I was 11 months old, we woke up to a cross burning in our front yard.
Right.
And that began this crazy life of living with this white family. Um, we stayed in that white neighborhood for another 2 years. And then when I was 3 years old, my parents moved to Detroit, and I grew up from age 3 to 18. I was always around kids that looked like me. We
Mhm.
lived in a black neighborhood for a while, and then moved to a white neighborhood later on.
What in the world? And I was looking at that the other day. What in the world could a church actually say that we don't want this biracial kid, or anybody
That,
that doesn't look like us? What was there something scriptural that they came up with to say? Well, it says here that he shouldn't be in this church. What did they say? What was their excuse?
there was none. So what they did is soon after I was brought into the church, then they started sweating my father about his job performance.
Mm-hmm.
And in a meeting, he finally just said, "Okay, what's this really about?"
Mm-hmm.
And they tried to say he lacked the Holy Spirit, which was just code for, "We're trying to get rid of you. We're trying to fire you."
Mm-hmm.
So they started down this process of trying to fire my father.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, there was no basis behind it except it was just straight racist. Yeah, I couldn't justify it. And then they would do what a lot of people do, which is, treat people horribly because of race, and
Right.
then act like that's not the cause. And that's what they did. So when he would ask them, "Is this about, the fact that I brought this child of color into the congregation?"
Mm-hmm.
And then they would go, "Oh, no, 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 no." But that's what it was.
I don't even see how, if you're in a religion that's supposed to be inclusive,
Yeah, exactly.
about love, how can
Yeah,
you, it's not, we're not even talking about dope. We're talking about an innocent child.
yeah, exactly.
They
Yeah,
just know what's going on. I mean, it's bad if it's an adult, but I can see a little bit more reason to it. But we're talking about a child that's done nothing. You saying what,
yeah,
2, 3 years old?
yeah,
Like, you don't even know what black and white is.
yeah. Right, right.
You're just trying to make it to kindergarten at that point,
Exactly.
and they're kicking a child out essentially.
Yeah, and my mother shared with me that all the white women in the church would come to her, and they asked her over and over again. And again, I was only 2 or 3, and
Mm.
they would ask her, "Well, who's he going to grow up and date?" But
Mm.
what they were really saying was, "Man, I hope you're not around long enough where he grows up to date my daughter."
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
for real.
To see this and more of my content, go to my YouTube page at Hostile Therapy with Big Red and click like and subscribe.